this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no one.
a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. 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 I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching Septum Sin versus the World. I'm Septum Sin. This is Kotobuki Jake, and we're here to show you what they got. They don't got a lot.
No, they don't. And no Gundam.
But there was at least one anime that was coming out. And
good looking out, Sentai.
so we're going to lead off with that, and then we'll hit straight into our slideshow after that. So let's just do a quick throwdown as to what we can expect, and I'm going to throw this out here so Jake can see what I'm doing. So, of course, we have our rankings. The priority, we gotta get it eventually. Yes, please. We really want it. It's on our wish list, but if it's got to slip through our fingers, it's got to slip through. Curious. This looks interesting. I might want to watch this. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'd like to see this. Meh. Well, I buy that for $1 or free, but I'm not going to go out of my way, and it's probably not going to be much of an impulse buy unless it's like a Dollar Tree.
Right.
Then, hell no. We won't even take that thing for free. We throw that thing right in the trash if it, or in the face of that person who dared offer it to us.
Right.
Septum Sin versus the World does not advocate violence against others. All right, so we are starting with our only anime release. Kaiji, I believe, is the name here, which is a very cool-looking series. It is one that has been on my wish list for a while because it's got a lot of intense nature into it. It's got some very intense scenes. I think they cut off his fingers in one scene or something like that.
Oh, lovely.
And this guy is a gambler. That spends his day drinking, gambling, and racking up bills. So, then that bottom fell out when Endo, the loan shark, arrived to inform him of a friend's default on a loan at Kaiji foolishly co-signed, making Kaiji responsible for a soul-crushing 3 million yen. But there's one possible way out. Kaiji goes to a secret gambling ship and plays successfully for one night. His debt could be absolved. It's a trick, of course, but what choice does Kaiji have? So I've seen a lot about this series that looks really fun. The art style is a little bit odd, but it is
It is odd.
But it is kind of a cool thing. I am interested in this. Not quite, not quite like I've got to have it. If it goes out of print, I will be sad. But still, $64 for 52 episodes is still not a bad deal.
No.
Considering I just had an anime that I bought for $100 for like 13 episodes. So, but with that being said, I would definitely put this as a yes, please, because it's more than the curious level for me. It's been on my radar for a while, and I'm definitely wish listing this for a future go through.
Now, I have to admit, this sounds intriguing. But this is not one that has been on my radar, except perhaps incidentally. For me, I admit 64 is not a bad price for 52 episodes, but the price I'm looking for is closer to 20. So if it goes on sale for 20, this is a very likely pickup. So I'll go curious, strong curious, but
Under normal circumstances, I would say that would be impossible for it to drop that much, but I have seen similar drops before. I've got at least one series I got for like 15 and it has almost as many episodes on it. So it's possible.
It's much more likely that it'll go on sale for around 30 or so for at least a few times.
And
I'm still waiting for friggin' K-On to come down to 20.
And I'll buy that up for 30.
Yeah. 30 maybe.
Yeah, K-On is worth much more.
K-On I will give for 30.
Yeah.
If that happens.
But let's take a look at all the other things that are coming out.
Mm-hmm. We got the bits of yesterday. 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 We're dreaming pixels and 2D sprites. We're longing for the days of playing all night. We're throwing controllers, we're blowing in games. AES, Danny says we got the bits of yesterday. 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 The burning bushes and breaking red lights. The star punches to finish the fight. We got the power, not the glove. We got the bits of yesterday. 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 We got the power. We got the power. They got the power. We got the power. We got the bits of yesterday. 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 We got the bits.
That was a fun slideshow.
That didn't take long, did it?
Didn't even finish the whole song with it.
I know.
So, I'll show it to you.
So, we are starting off with an Oscar winner. Annie, Get Your Gun. Pretty well-known movie. I've heard a lot about this over the years. I can't say I've actually ever seen it, but one day I will. 1950 release about Annie Oakley. Big surprise there. A comedy musical biography. That's an interesting combination.
Yep.
Betty Hutton in the title role. You got Howard Keel. That ain't never the same one, is it? Edward... No, that's a different dude. I was just, it said Edward Arnold. I'm like, that couldn't be the singer, but no, it's not. Keenan Wynn is in there, but this was a winner of the Oscar for Best Music Scoring of a Musical Picture. Nominated for Best Color Cinematography, Color Art Direction, Set Decoration, and Best Film Editing. I would love to see this. I have not seen it, so I'm overdue for that. It's not one that I'm going to rush out and get, but the fact that it won an Oscar does mean I will have to eventually, so that makes it a yes, please.
I will agree with that because it did win an Oscar. It's on my radar, but... Yeah, it's weird. A lot of Oscar-winning films don't automatically make them priority for me because I've had Oscar films that I could have gotten that are now out of print. So it's a matter of if it's at the right place and the right time, I'm going to grab it. I still have like an eye on it.
Yeah. Well, I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, most definitely. Not quite 20, but maybe 15 or 14 if it came
Yeah.
down and it was the right time. If I had like a
I
decent
could
amount of
see
money
that.
and I was doing an order, maybe.
Yeah.
So speaking of something that's a fairly good deal, actually, Disney Movie Club exclusive, which is the Best of Fantasia. So Best of Mickey's, essentially. Fantasia, Fantasia 2000, and Celebrating Mickey, which is a club exclusive Blu-ray DVD combo pack. Now, Fantasia and Fantasia 2000 are beautiful films. And they need to be on Blu-ray or higher in your collection. So I will say that. But I'm trying to figure out what that last one is. The collection celebrates Mickey's cartoon legacy with favorites spanning nearly a century. Program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people of cultures. Yeah, they have to put that in there. It's old Disney. That's what they did. That's what they specialized in. I would have to know more about what was the other, what this, this Celebrating Mickey thing is before I would dive into
Didn't it say something in that plot summary that you were looking at?
I mean,
it says with favorites spanning nearly a century. So my guess is that it's a whole bunch of his short films.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It might be. And if I didn't have the two films already, Fantasia and Fantasia 2000, I got that fantastic Blu-ray combo pack, which they put out of print. But it is but if you don't have those, Disney Movie Club is not a bad thing to be a member of if you can keep up with the monthly, once you've done your stuff, you get your stuff for the cheap price, and then you make your purchases, which is not bad. You could get stuff like this. Their exclusives alone are worth having the access. And with a lot of Disney movies, it's not as much these days because they are actually going on sale for once because of Disney Plus. They actually usually still offer some of the best deals that you can get on Disney products. And so there's some pretty cool things. I mean, Disney Movie Clubs helped me complete Tailspin and Gargoyles, for instance, which was
but they are not on their website the last time I checked, unfortunately.
So it's just it's something though that you should check out if you want to get this. This might be a chance to do it. If I did not have that, I would say this is a priority. Those two plus that other in a combination, even for that price, for once I'd actually be willing to pay that price for those two together in a Blu-ray pack. It's actually worth it in my opinion.
I more or less have to agree.
You got some 60% off stuff that you want to get afterwards.
Right. There's the rub. But the truth is that I don't think I have Fantasia 2000. And I couldn't actually swear to it on the first one. If I do, it probably is Blu-ray. So it is actually sorely tempting. And I will admit that, of course, now they have Soul as a featured title after I've already purchased it. Yeah. That's unfortunate. I see. I didn't order Soul from them because I wasn't able to put together that sort of lovely multi-faceted deal that we were just talking about. But anyway, I actually am strongly considering this collection. I think it might be. I can't swear to it that it's priority because I don't know fully the content of the Celebrating Mickey part. And I'm not sure I would call Fantasia 2000 a must-get priority. But the first one undoubtedly is.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if anything, it's going to have Steamboat Willie on there, which...
yeah.
Which right there is
Yeah.
a worthy thing to have in your collection.
That's a bit of history there. So, I'm going to go ahead and let that stay put there in the priority section.
As much
I
as
think I will.
as much as I don't like the mouse, I got to give him his due.
Yes. Yes. We must all pay obeisance to the mouse.
And now for something completely different for you,
Indeed.
because we're on Vinegar
Yes.
Syndrome site.
Crestone. I have no clue what this is, but I'm guessing this is Vinegar Syndrome. I won't say I have no clue what this is. I looked it up. It's apparently a documentary about a bunch of dudes who decided to grow some weed up in the hills of the Rockies. And it's Vinegar Syndrome, which means it's going to be kind of rare and possibly collectible. And I really don't know much about whether I don't know that I'm going to really necessarily be blown away by the film. Probably won't be. But I'm curious enough to at least, say curious.
I doubt we're going to get the nice embossed one, but $24 isn't much. And I'll admit, if I had the money to be one of their subscribers, one of their yearly subscribers, of course it's not on there, but you get an additional 50% off for any title that's not on that. That's pretty cool. I mean, I would get that for $12. So but it looks fun. Looks like fun. All right, so more fun. Broadway Melody of 1940. Fred Astaire and Eleanor Powell. I'm surprised you didn't put this on that list you sent me.
I almost did.
So this is a series of films, one of which did win the Oscar. I don't believe it was this one, but
it was not this one.
But they are a series. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them, and I want to say this is probably the last one. I don't think they did another one after this one. But still, it is a classic series. It has some pretty darn good names in it, and I bet you it's got some wonderful music and dancing and performance in it for the times. I have long wanted to collect all of those. They've been on my list of must-gets for a while, and so I'd put it on the yes, please, because I want all of them. I want the Oscar winner, but I want the ones that didn't win the Oscar, too. I don't think I have... do I have it? Oh, I do have the one that did win the original Broadway Melody.
Okay.
But they have, two more, like 1933, I think, and then 1940 as well. So.
Right. Well, I think that I can agree with that.
All right.
Okay. Next up, we have Crisis. We actually had a couple of movies this week that involved criminals and the opioid epidemic and all this stuff. And I ended up going with the one that had the all-star freaking cast. I mean, this one, I just looked at it and I was like, holy crap, it looks kind of fun. You got Gary Oldman, Armie Hammer, Evangeline Lilly, Greg Kinnear, Michelle Rodriguez, Luke Evans, Lily Rose Depp, Martin Donovan, Mia Kirshner, etc., etc. I mean, that's a pretty impressive cast, and I just was fascinated by it. And this one, I think, had a slightly higher rating than the other one, whose name I don't remember all right away, but it has Michael Kenneth Williams in it, which tempted me. This, I will say this movie has a terrible title. Terrible title. They should have done a better title. But anyway, I'm curious about it. I'm not going to rush out and get it, but I'm curious.
There is apparently a Blu-ray release as well. which is twice the price of the DVD release, but also coming out on the 20th. It's just they didn't have a picture for it, so I decided not to show it. And you really, if you want to find it, you really need to type in DVD behind it because it won't show up for Blu-ray.
That's really weird.
What did you say you rated this?
Curious.
I'll leave it at curious. All right.
All right.
So, speaking of Oscar winners, this one is a great film, Chariots of Fire. It is basically about college runners, and it has of course that famous tune, you know, da 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 da, which now we're going to get copyright claim just because I hummed it, and they'll shut down the channel forever, burn the ashes, whatnot, whatever.
Somehow managed to beat John Williams' score for Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I have to admit, reluctantly, that I can only be slightly peeved about that because they're both freaking awesome scores.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if anything, I can say that one sticks in my head more than anything else. Raiders of the Lost Ark as well, but this one is a super strong score. So I mean, it's not like it was beaten by a Sloppy Joe's Cafe or something, you know.
Or we're trying to think of stuff came out that year. Wasn't that year Porky's came out?
See, it could be. Yeah, it was beaten by Porky's, maybe. But, War Archive does have some cool things. I like that they're trying to keep things in print, especially Oscar-winning films, because they are the greatest of the greats. Despite some of the issues I've had with Oscars over the years, especially this year, a lot of the films that do win and are nominated are usually good films. And they're usually at least good in the category, because even though Norbit's a bad film, at least I can say, yes, the makeup was good.
Yes.
So, so they are still, I mean, the Best Picture nominees are usually, they may not be the best of the best of the best, but they are almost always well done films, with a few exceptions. But,
Right.
So if I was to put this up there, I mean, Chariots of Fire is a must get eventually. I'm not sure whether I'll put it on a yes please like I do most Oscar winners, but it's still one I think most people should have in their library.
Well, this is one that honestly I think under other circumstances I probably would more or less agree with you, because the other movies that this won, Oscars that it won, Best Picture, definitely should have gone to Raiders. Yeah. Best Writing, Original Screenplay, definitely should have gone to Raiders, maybe, but definitely that over this. Costume Design, debatable. This was also nominated for supporting actor for Ian Holm, director for Hugh Hudson, film editing for Terry Rawlings. The fact that this beat Raiders of the Lost Ark in a couple of categories where it shouldn't, and it's slightly overrated, but still, it's a pretty darn good sports film. It is inspirational in a sense. It is very well made. The music is phenomenal. So, under normal circumstances, I would say this is a very, 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 very high yes, please. What pushes it up into priority is the fact that I freaking bought a copy on eBay a few months back and got 3/4 of the way through the movie before I learned that the disc did not function all the way to the end.
Oh,
So now I really want to get a working copy. So that makes it a priority.
That was a roundabout way of saying that, but yes, indeed. Well, it'll stay here, of course, because of where I put it, but still, it's good to have your full understanding as to why it's a priority. All right. Speaking of priority ones,
Woo!
and a hard one to find. You can't just type it in. You have to look out. I had to take the link from freaking Blu-ray.com on this. It's yours, though.
Oh, it is. You're right. Okay, one that I have had for some time on DVD is Dave Chappelle's Block Party. And whereas there are some who would claim that Chariots of Fire is overrated, I kind of agree. I will say wholeheartedly and without hesitation, this film is overrated. I read so much about it. The critics raved about this movie. And I got a copy really cheap. And I was like, yeah, I get to watch it. And I watched it and I was like, Don't expect the Chappelle Show. Let me just put it bluntly. Don't expect the Chappelle Show. And expect basically a half-decent concert documentary is probably the best way to put it. That's a little bit. I'm sure if I went back and rewatched it with the bar set lower, I would be much more impressed. Especially look at the people involved. You got the Fugees, you got Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Common, The Roots, Erykah Badu, Kanye. Except for him, you got some great people involved, and Michel Gondry, the director of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This should have been every bit as good as the critics said it was, and I love the cover design for this edition. This would be worth upgrading just to have a really cool-looking edition. Just go into it with your expectations measured. Do not expect the Chappelle Show, or you will be disappointed. I will give it a curious, but a borderline yes, please, because I do plan to upgrade eventually. But yeah, curious.
I can't knock Kanye. I mean, personally, he's not that great, but as far as musically, he does have some really good songs that he made. So I can't really knock him entirely. He's got some talent. He's just.
He has some talent, but he is not God's gift to humanity as he believes he is.
You can't hold him up to the Kanye standard. Nobody meets the Kanye standard. But yeah,
not even Kanye.
I have never seen this movie. I had no interest in seeing the movie. I still kind of don't. It's probably... I'm leaving it at a curious, but it's a curious at, whereas yours is a curious with borderline yes please, mine's a curious at a borderline meh. So I guess we're kind of meeting in the middle.
All right.
All right, so speaking of some pretty interesting stuff, the Mortuary Collection. I looked back on the Kickstarter for this. I backed this Kickstarter in 2013. And it just came out this year. Now, the real question I have on my lips is, am I going to actually get my copy that I paid for? That I paid $50 at the Kickstarter for 7 years ago? Or am I going to get shafted? Only time will tell. But I was very interested in this. I followed it throughout the entirety of the creation process, all of the crap it's been through, and all the ups and downs, and I'm glad it got a release. I have yet to watch it, even though I do have Shudder and I could watch it. I am just hoping and praying that it is going to get that they're going to send out, Blu-ray and DVD releases. I have actually the last communication from them, I believe, on here. It's actually funny because this thing, like I said, this was back in... Yeah, it's hard to believe that it's been like that long ago. The last update was in October 19. of last year, where they were like, huge thanks to everyone who turned on into Shudder this weekend to watch. That was when it debuted, was October 19th. The film will be exclusively to Shudder for the next few months, but will roll out to iTunes and Blu-ray early 2021. Here you go. Everyone who is still waiting for their hard copy, I know it's been a long wait. Yeah, 7 years. But we're working like crazy to make sure it will not be in vain. The Blu-ray will include over 2 hours of in-depth behind-the-scenes videos, commentaries, short films, and basically as much as we can fit into the disc. It's going to be awesome. Thanks again for your patience. So, I commented, basically, I'm glad the film is up to buy next week. Looking forward to getting my copy. So I've very much been anticipating.
Wink, wink, nose.
So I've been anticipating this for an extremely long time. So there's a personal stake in this that pushes it up to a yes, please from me. It's So even when you give it the inevitable meh, you'll still get to curious.
I don't think I'm going to give it a meh, although I definitely do not have your history with this particular one. I'm going to probably give it a...
Wow.
I don't know.
Hard decision.
Well, it is a hard decision. I don't know. I'll give it a curious. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt.
If anything, it looks like it's going to be everything shapes up to it being a fun anthology. And I love fun horror anthologies. So,
right.
We'll see.
It can be fun.
I just invested in 1031 Part 3.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Is this still ongoing?
What? 1031?
Part 3?
Yep. It's still got some time left, like 6 days left in its campaign. If y'all are hearing this, y'all should invest in it. It hasn't quite gotten the numbers yet. I wanted to get the numbers because it needs to succeed. I want because I want us to watch that one for our Horrorween next year.
Right. That sounds fun.
No, note the date on this one has changed.
This one, oh yes, it got pushed back, huh? Each Dawn I Die. James Cagney, George Raft. That right there should probably be a pretty good indication of the good times. It's a 1939 film, pretty well rated on IMDb. You've also got Jane Bryan, George Bancroft is in there, John Ray, some various folks. I'll give it a strong curious.
I can give it a curious. I need to get some Cagney in my collection. So
yeah.
I think I got like 1 or 2 films with him in it. And I don't think he's even the star in the ones I've got, so it'd be kind of good to have at least one. I want one of the gangster films with him that just makes him, popular.
Right.
Mutiny on the Bounty, one I've seen not too long ago, and I own, but I could upgrade it to Blu-ray if I wanted to now. And actually, there's multiple Blu-ray releases to it. I think I still have the what do they call it? The DVD release. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think I have this one on an old flipper. It definitely needs an upgrade.
I mean, it's worthwhile. It's a fairly fun film. Good solid pirate film, Oscar-winning film. And it does have some good stuff. I mean, it's got, Clark Gable, Charles Loudon. Right. If anything, one of the better tales.
An interesting study in the way Oscar has changed over the years. The movie was nominated for 8 Oscars and won 1 for Best Picture.
Wow.
It won Best Picture and nothing else. And it had 3 actors, Clark Gable, Charles Lawton, and Franche Tone, however you say that, all nominated for Best Actor.
So I've got
Could you imagine that happening?
I've got it as a high yes, please, because I do feel it should be in the collection. It's almost, it's on the border, but I can't quite give it a priority.
Yeah, partly because there's so freaking many versions of this story.
Yeah.
But I will admit, this is considered by many to be sort of the essential version, and it's a really good movie. I would like to upgrade mine.
Oh yeah.
I will go with a solid yes, please. Yeah.
All right. Moving right along.
Okay. Green Dolphin Street. How's that for a title? And if I remember correctly, I believe this is also an Oscar winner, which is part of the reason why it made my list.
Yep.
1947 film by Victor Seville. You've got Lana Turner in there, along with Van Heflin, Donna Reed, Frank Morgan, Edmund Gwynn, Gladys Cooper, a lot of those big names from back in the day. This was special effects. Nominated as well for black and white cinematography, sound recording, and film editing. I know very little about this, but I like the title because it's weird, and it is a winner, and I will certainly give that a yes, please, as a result.
Well, it's an Oscar winner. I don't know much about it. I can't really rank it above this, but I can't rank it below that either, so it's right there.
Right.
All right, moving on. We've got some. Well, look at this list so far. Nothing below yet.
Yeah, pretty solid. Yet.
So yet.
Oh God! Why?
One of the, I think, actually, yeah, one of the two fillers that I did to catch up was Space Dogs Tropical Adventure. But, you know, if you wanted your Space Dogs, you've got to have it for the Tropical Adventure. Now, if you want to get it on DVD, you got to wait till July 6th. So we might be covering it again when it comes out on DVD.
Oh.
But Blu-ray, you can get that bad boy on the 20th.
Appropriate that you could buy this on 420. You're probably going to need a good tote.
When mysterious and dangerous whirlpool appears in the tropics of the Atlantic Ocean, astronauts Belka and Strelka are sent to investigate with the help of their good friends. Belka and Strelka must once again act heroically and complete a mission. Because we've had Space Dogs before. They've been on this site before, and I have talked about them before for the same exact reason. Filler. So, I guess it's only obvious that we talk about this. I'm not going to necessarily rate it a total meh, because if I was like maybe drunk one night and it was the $10 price point instead of the $20 price point, there's a possibility I could accidentally click on it just because I thought it would be funny to have it.
Accidentally.
And you know, actually, no, if I was drunk and I got this, I would have gotten the other film as well, because it would just, that's how I would get it. You watch. One day I'm going to be talking, I was really drunk one night, and I didn't realize I ordered this until I came to the house. So for that reason, I'll give it. And then the
wife saw it and said, "What the hell is this?"
So I'll give it a curious for that reason.
Well, for me, this is almost exactly the definition of a meh, in the sense that I'd buy that for $1, but you know, I admit that I had forgotten about the previous one. I might have blocked it from the memory. Who knows? But it was it's a Russian film series.
Yes.
And that just intrigues me, the idea of a Russian animated film. So, yes, I would buy it for $1. If I found this at the Dollar Tree, I'd be like, yeah. But I don't think I would go out of my way to get it, even if I did get inebriated one night. So I'm going to have to go with meh, but
They can't all be winners.
they can't all be winners, exactly.
Sorry, space dogs.
Nah.
Speaking of winners.
Yep, all right. So we have the first of 2 Criterion films this week. It is a Anthony Mann feature called The Furies. And I'll admit, that is a pretty cool little title there. I mean, a cover, that's what I was going to say. It's Barbara Stanwyck, Wendell Corey, Walter Houston, Beulah Bondi, etc., nominated for an Oscar for black and white cinematography. This is a 1950 film. Criterion's release does have some pretty decent bonus features. Nothing earth-shattering, but pretty decent.
You get a novel.
What happened?
You get a full-on novel of it with it.
You do.
Yeah, new printing of the 1948 novel, which the film was based.
Well, isn't that something?
Never heard of that before. Get a book with it.
No, I'm not sure I have. But anyway, this is it's one that I've heard of before. I can't say that it was top of my list, but I feel like I've heard it thrown around a few times. And it definitely looks like it's worthwhile, worth a look. I will give this a solid yes, please, because I will be getting it eventually, although I won't necessarily be rushing to get it.
I'm curious about it. Like, I swear I've come across this thing before. I thought it was on Criterion already. I'm on the borderline. I probably will keep my eye out for it, so I guess I'll leave it at yes, please. All right, the other filler, which is a little bit better quality, I guess, release, Switchblade Sisters, is coming out on Arrow, and with Joanne Mayle, Jack Hill, and as the director, and Robert Lee. So again, you got a pretty cool cover there. She got cores in her. She got a cores that she's sipping on. And they got that Switchblades, because you can't be Switchblade Sisters without the Switchblades. You'd lose that. You'd lose your rep. So she's the leader of this inner city gang, the Dagger Debs. But she meets her match when a new girl, Maggie, moves into the neighborhood. Mistrust and conflict turn to friendship as the girls end up in juvenile detention together at the mercy of abusive guards. Meanwhile, the Dagger Debs, male counterparts, the Silver Daggers, have a contend with the arrival of a new gang led by the villainous Krabs. Yes, that evil Mr. Krabs. He charges a lot for his Krabby Patties. But
he does.
When the girls get back on the streets, a planned retaliation strike in tandem with the Silver Daggers backfires and puts Lacey in the hospital. Maggie assumes control, teaming up with Muff. Great naming here. And her gang of African-American militants from across the town to declare an all-out war. But there is a traitor in their midst. It comes with, as usual for Arrow, a crap ton of special features. Sometimes I think Arrow outdoes Criterion. And they always have their... I will say this. If a lot of their stuff wasn't going out of print constantly, I would put them on par with Criterion in every other way. Because they do an excellent job restoring their stuff. They have excellent releases. Their special editions are freaking amazing. I've thought about getting the regular edition of their of the Mia's To the Moon Blu-ray. I've got a region-free player, so I could actually do it. But I'm still, thinking about that. But with that being said, this one has a curious. The arrow alone, and the fact it looks like an interesting story, I'd probably pick that up if it was decently priced.
Yeah, I'm vaguely curious. I may regret that, but I looked at it and it looked vaguely interesting. It's a nice cover. It is Arrow, which is cool. So yeah, I'll give it a curious.
All right, finish us.
All right.
Take us home.
Speaking of that Criterion, we have a film from our master filmmaker Bong Joon-ho called Memories of Murder. This was, I believe, the film that was announced along with Parasite as one that they were going to eventually put out. And it has his frequent collaborator, Song Kang-ho, in there. This is a film from 2003, got an 8.1 rating on IMDb, not bad. It's on their top 250 right now. And this is basically two detectives struggle with a case of multiple young women being found raped and murdered by an unknown culprit. So, for kids. But anyway, this is... I like a good police procedural. I know that's a pretty big turnoff for you, but but I'm very interested in seeing this, and this will be one of my July pickups. I can say that pretty emphatically, so I'm going to call this a priority. Especially with that interview with Guillermo del Toro. That sounds fascinating.
I can't go priority with it, but I can definitely go yes, please, because it'll be one I'd look out for. I mean, the director is one that I respect, and I would, and again, depending. Again, that's the thing, is it's on my long list of potential Criterion pickups. So I can.
In evidence that this is a strange, messed up, screwed up, nasty world that we are in, the mouse rules them all.
Yes. It's kind of an obscene end to this, the way it turned out.
That's appropriate, sadly.
So, of course, Lash got pushed back, which we didn't cover last time, and we didn't cover this time. And I don't really have anything else on here. Maybe Test Pattern looked interesting, but... I
was kind of curious about that Dr. X. That looks kind of fun. And the other one I mentioned before was Body Brokers. But yeah, there was not a whole lot this week.
Hey, The Wiggles, Greatest Hits.
There was not a whole lot this week.
We're all fruit salads. I don't even know what the heck that means.
I'm not sure I do either.
The Wiggles.
It's probably a good thing.
The Wiggles came out entertaining children when I was an adult, so
yes,
and they're adults now, which makes me sad.
yes.
But with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this. Click that like button, hit that subscribe, and of course share, because we'd love to have more of them subscribers. And we'll see you peoples on the next one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.